Hi, I'm Linduska. I'm a fiber artist, author, and teacher, and this is my brand new book, Creative Uses for Decorative Stitches, that's available with American Quilt Society. Today I'm going to demo some surface design techniques. So what this is it's a double piece of medium weight stabilizer and just a piece of fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do layers and layers of stitching. So this is the first layer, this purple. So I'm changing my thread. Every time I change my thread, I'll change my stitch. I like to use the hollow stitches, which are like open. They don't cover a lot of surface. And my lower level stitches. And then as I build up and add more fabric and stuff, I'll start getting into more decorative satin stitches. So this one is going to be another utility stitch. I'll go with the stipple, which is always a good standard. And I'm going to add some strips of fabric that I have cut. And I cut these strips just kind of funky and random. And just kind of place them, no big deal where they go. Okay. And then I'm just going to stitch them down. And they don't need to be stitched all over, just to kind of just hold them, because I'm going to be doing more layers on top of them. I'm always turning and pushing the fabric in different directions. Whichever way I turn it is like a pencil on a paper. I'm drawing with the stitches right now. Okay, I'm going to change my color thread again. Okay, so now I'm going to add an orange thread on this, which will stand out a little bit more, which is a good thing. And then I'm going to add some of these little turquoise strips. Let them overlap in different areas. Okay. This is what I call a ladder stitch. I'm taking it to the maximum width and the maximum length. And I like to kind of make it a curvy, so I'm going to go back and forth. And I'm letting the stitch distort. I'm doing that on purpose. I like the distortion. And it's all right if the fabric moves around. This one's held down at one end, so I'm just going to kind of try to catch it. I'm going to add a couple more strips of blue. I like the contrast of the blue and the black and white on that green. Okay, now I'm going to leave the same color thread. I'm going to change my stitch to a zigzag, and I'm going to add a little bit of yarn. And I'm just going to couch it. It doesn't have to be couched down perfectly. And bunch it up a little. There's going to be another layer on top of it, so it's all right if it isn't down perfectly. I can even do a little kind of spiral. Okay, now I'm going to go back and kind of go over areas that I have missed. Just a little bit. Back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to add my last color of thread, which will be more of a decorative satin stitch. I always save the decorative satin stitches for last because I want them on the top surface. I like this stitch to distort, but not all the time. So what I'm doing is I'm letting it feed itself, so it's not going to be too spread apart, but I'm turning it so it will curve and distort that way. So now I'm going to cut out a little flower shape.
You'll learn a lot about the men and why they make these and how they make them. You'd be amazed at how fast they just go like this, and it's like
Not perfect at all.
So it's just $5 more for the
Well, if you're an Andrew's member, it's 20.
And I'm just going to put a center on that. Okay, so I'm using a rickrack stitch with the length pretty short. It's at a 1.0, and I'm just going to stitch a circle for my flower center. And as I do that, the outside of the fabric is going to warp a little, and that's what I want. I want it to kind of poof up, and then I'm just going to spiral my center. Just keep turning and turning until I get into the very middle. I think that should be good. Nope, not quite. There we go. So there's my little flower. Trim it. Now I'm just going to cut the edges because what I'm making is a postcard. So I'm going to cut it down, cut away all the icky ends. Okay. I'm going to stitch it onto this other fabric. That will frame it, and it'll also create the back that you can write on, and you can send it through the mail. So I'm just using a rickrack stitch. It's not going to be a real tight satin stitch. It's going to be loose. And I'm using the edge of the stitched fabric as my line. And now I'm just going to cut around the edge, and I like to just do you could use pinking shears or scallop shears or whatever, but I just like to do kind of free form. What I'm doing is just cutting and turning down to get my little improv scallop. And there it is. You can turn it over, and with a fine point Sharpie, address it and write a note. And this is how you make a fabric surface design postcard that can actually be mailed. It needs to be hand canceled. Okay? Thanks.